Hey, it's Scott from the ProductionAcademy.com. This week in this video, I just want to tell you about this crazy thing I'm doing coming up this weekend. So this band hired me to mix their sound, which is normal. Bands hire me all the time to mix their sounds, but I've never mixed this band before. We don't get a sound check, and they're headlining a festival. So I want to tell you about some of the tools I'm going to use to make sure that I get through it and make sure I do the best that I possibly can. So their normal engineer, he just can't make this show. That's why I'm filling in. So I'm going to use his file. It's on a Digico SD10, and he'll have pretty much everything mapped out. We're using plugins, Waves plugins on a separate Waves server. We have a separate file for that. So everything's kind of prepared and ready to go, but just kind of running it the very first time during the set seems totally crazy. So I'm going to use Virtual Soundcheck, and so I can play back tracks from pre-recorded tracks from a different show and play it through the console when I actually get to the festival. So I'm kind of getting a sound check without the band actually being on stage. All right, so we have the console, like I said, it's a Digico SD10, and the external Waves server, which is running all the Waves plugins. This is a pretty common setup. They're connected via MADI. But this console sounds really good, and the Waves plugins sound really good, so a lot of people use this setup on tour. And I've actually filled in for other engineers with bands using this exact same setup, so I'm pretty familiar with how it all works. But since we don't have a sound check, we really need to set up a whole other computer running playback. That way we can test everything the day of the show. So when I get to the festival, I can play back tracks from one computer into the console. The console can use the playback from that computer as the inputs, and then we can test all the Waves server and everything and just make sure it's all sounding good, sounding the way it's supposed to before the actual show starts. So this requires some advanced planning. So the festival has an audio company that's providing the audio, but they're actually getting the console and the Waves server from a whole other company because they don't have this set up in stock. So it's been a little bit of an advance. I had to talk to multiple people and try to make sure everything's going to be there the way I need it when I get there. So I'm just not showing up and getting to the festival and then end up missing something and having the whole show kind of be a total nightmare for me. So I've been doing that, and everything seems set up, and the audio providers have been really nice and helpful in helping me get everything I need to make sure this show is going to happen correctly. So we'll see how it goes, and I'm going to check back with you next week right here and tell you how it went. I want to tell you about this process. I'll try to film a little bit while I'm setting everything up and getting everything going, preparing for the festival. So you can see kind of how the setup looks and how the show actually goes. So check back right here for that next week. And until then, have a good weekend, and I will see you soon. Bye.